JP. So we work with a lot of builders, all right? And then we also talk to a lot of builders. Now, when we talk to builders, we see a lot of builders, they are really just enjoying their businesses. They're growing, they're enjoying what they do day to day, so they're enjoying the journey. They have time, so they have time for their families and hobbies and everything else like that. And then you get the builders that are just stuck. They don't seem to really go anywhere. What do you think is what's that number one trap that you see, keep coming up for the guys that are stuck?
There's a number of things, but you can probably group them in what we call the trial and error tax. So a lot of guys out there, especially if they don't have somewhere to feed the right information from, they just are trialing and erroring. They're trying something new, seeing if this works, if this can get them unstuck, if this can move them forward. And then why we call it the trial and error tax is because you trial it for a couple of months, whatever it may be, a new team member, software, something like that. Then you realize, nope, this is not working. So that's just cost you, plus all just the tax of trying to implement it, the extra time, input, or training the new staff member, their wage. Then you get rid of them. Then you got to fix those problems, and that can add up. And I've heard some pretty big figures, and that's what we refer to as a trial and error tax. And I find that being one of the very common things that guys get stuck on. Or they might be trying to solve something over here when that doesn't need solving, or that will come later. There's something more urgent, but maybe they just can't see it. And this is from just pure feedback from guys listening to this podcast, which I've been getting a lot of lately. I think coming to the end of the year, everyone's getting notified of their top listening stuff, or we've had some awesome podcasts of late as well. But just hearing stories from other builders. So they don't need to go to some seminar or anything like that. Just hearing stories from other builders helps them have that aha moment, or an unlocking in the head, or an epiphany, and go, oh, that could actually be what I need to focus on, not this thing that I keep working on and nothing's moving. And it's just very hard when you don't have anything to compare it to. So you don't have another builder that you can be open, honest, open book with, and have them, or have you and him talk into each other's spaces.
I guess with a lot of builders, just going back to the trial and error thing, if you look at builders, most builders, they're problem solvers, right? So that every day they're solving hundreds of problems every single day. So when it comes to trial and error, I think a lot of builders think they can do it themselves. It's like a DIY thing. I'm solving problems anyway, so hey, I'm going to solve this problem.
Interesting you mention that, because a common characteristic that I've noticed in many builders, and it comes back to that concept of what got you from where you were to where you are today, is not necessarily what you need to get you to that next milestone. And that characteristic is just getting into it yourself. That's awesome when you're small and you have to wear all the hats and you just get in there and get it done.
Yeah, you're bootstrapping it.
You've learned every part of the business. You quoting, you're running the projects, you're client liaising, you're closing contracts, you're all that sort of stuff. But as you grow, you can't keep behaving that way. That'll then slow you down, and that will really then stop you from moving on to the next thing.
And we keep coming back to, I guess, if you just rely on trial and error, you are wasting a lot of time. And that's not just time that you won't get back, but it's also the time you could have used to, grow other areas of your business, or even just spend time with your family, right? Invest in that side of things, or even just maybe fitness and all those things. So time, but so they lose that time. But what is the actual risk of not solving this type of mindset of just doing trial and error yourself? What's the big risk there for you?
The big risk there, I would say, is loss of momentum. When you're building up momentum and you're putting things in place and you get there, it's a really awesome self-filling loop, because as you hit a new milestone, you put something in place and you see reward from that. Maybe the reward is just progress. It feeds you. But when you start to hit wall after wall and you can't seem to solve a problem, you lose that momentum and you really start to slow down, and you can feel like you're running in the same spot and just lose a lot of that momentum and
Yeah,
that
so it's
desire
almost
to push.
like it's almost like you go into like a negative feedback loop as well.
Yeah, it can.
And then you can't see like the light, like at the end of the tunnel. You don't get inspired.
Yep.
Like, why am I even doing this? Whereas, yeah, that positive momentum, what you're talking about, yeah, I think that's
yeah. I mean,
that's really
going
important.
a bit off track, but I mean, you and I were talking about this just this week about that idea of keeping. For a lot of the guys I work with, they're very ambitious, and so their eyes are always on the summit, and they sometimes feel like, man, I'm just so far from that summit. I'm just so far. And as they climb this mountain, the next summit looks bigger, and it's over there.
Yeah.
And they don't often celebrate wins, and so yeah, you can get
Well,
caught
yeah,
up in that.
It's actually something we spoke about yesterday, and it's a clip that I got from one of my mentors, and I sent it on to you yesterday. I might quickly summarize it if you want.
Go.
I think it's really important. So there's this thing with like people that climb Mount Everest. It's this frame of mind, something that you have to always keep in mind. So the goal for a lot of these guys, for these people that want to climb Mount Everest, is to like get to the top. Like that's the goal. But if they fixate on that the whole time, that overwhelms them, and they, like a lot of people have died because of that.
Yeah. Well, not only that, the path up is incredibly treacherous, and you need to watch every step, because your next step can put you down into a crevasse and you can die.
Yeah. So yeah, if you just keep looking at that summit the whole time, especially when you're coming from the bottom, it's super overwhelming, and there's a huge chance that that'll actually stop you from moving forward. So what this mentor said was the mindset you have to have is like, you have to have the goal, but don't stare at the summit the whole time. Like just look at like the steps as well. So just take one step at a time. Eyes on the boots, that's what they call it.
Eyes on the boots.
Yeah, I just thought that was really cool, because I think we're always taught like, keep your eyes on the goal the whole time, like goal, goal, goal. And I think it's important. Like you have to, like if you're going to climb Mount Everest, it's going to be in the back of your mind the whole time. It's like, cool, I wanted to get to the top. That's my goal. Get to the top. Get to the top. But along the way, you've got to take those steps. So yeah. But
it probably goes well into another point you wanted to. I know you mentioned and you wanted to raise today, the proximity thing, because you can't. No one can no one can climb Mount Everest alone. You need to be around good people.
Yeah.
And it can be catastrophic if you are surrounding yourself with the wrong people, and you need people who are winners, like a winning mindset. That's who you need to have around you. So when it gets tough, it's like, no, we got this. We can do this.
Yeah.
This is what we're trained for. Let's keep going. Yep. Let's make that decision. Let's keep moving. You put yourself in a group of pessimists, you will not. I mean, I'm not someone to talk because I've never been. I've never been to Mount Everest, but I would find it very hard to believe, if you surround yourself with pessimists, that you would make it to the summit.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I guess a key point that I would love to drive home is like, if you're learning by trial and error, you're learning at the slowest possible speed, and in this market, like slow is dead. Like, especially how things are advancing.
Yeah, things are moving pretty
quick.
So
I guess, Japes, like, what does this mean for builders? Like, yeah, what does this mean?
Well, the quote that we often bring up, the Jim Rohn quote, I feel like you can memorize it better than me all the time, but it's that idea of you're the average of the 5 people you're around, and that comes back to that proximity. So if you are trying to get to whatever goal you have, it is incredibly important that you surround yourself with the right people. And this is direct feedback I had this week and last week on the podcast from people listening to the podcast, and that is that they really appreciate listening to the podcast and hearing these stories from other builders, because they don't have people that they feel like they can have open, honest conversations with around them and hear about things. And so the closest they can get to getting in the room with people that they admire or want to learn from or be around, or is on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Yeah, and I mean, I like the Jim Rohn concept. I'll just read it. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And they're like 2 groups of, people, and for this matter, builders. You've got your builders that, your circle of 5 might be family, friends, or, even those cynical builders that always trying to undercut you and so on. Those people that you probably don't want to take with you to Mount Everest. And that is really like your ceiling, because that's all you hear all the time. That is what you're used to. And then you've got the second group, that's if your circle of 5 are like guys that are, thinking 10 mil plus a year, healthy margins, weekends off, time with family, you'll naturally like rise to that standard. I like this Everest thing we just spoke about. Like, it wasn't part of like planning this episode, but I think it's a good analogy. So, if you're thinking about people that you hang around with a lot of time, you've got to ask the question like, will I take this person with me to Everest?
Yeah.
If yes, great, keep going. If no, probably look for another group.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone out there who's done any, I use the example of like a race, a really hard endurance race. I did a 2-day endurance race, multi-sport once, and the guy that I took with me, so grateful that I took him. And I didn't realize how good of a fit he was for him and I to do this, because thankfully we were never in the pain cave together at the same time. So we could always help each other out and bring each other out of that cave and keep going, keep pushing, which is so important. And I just can't imagine doing that with someone who is negative.
Yeah, and complains the whole time.
And complains, because that just gets in your head, and it's like, oh yeah, this is really hard. Yeah, why are we here? Why are we
and I
doing
bet
this?
you there were moments where you had like low points, and then he like brought you up, because he might have felt good at that moment, and then vice versa. Then he would have had a dip, and then you would be like, come on, Mike, let's go.
Yeah. And the same thing is, because you know that he's pushing himself, then you want to push yourself.
Yeah.
And so you want to finish it. You want to get through it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the big thing is like neither one of us are builders. I mean, we help a lot of builders, and, we're not going to be standing on stage teaching how to estimate and so on. I guess, when it comes to the Inspired Builders Summit, like what are our roles?
Our roles are just to facilitate.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure the right people in the room, the right people are sitting in the right place with the right guys, so they can really get the most out of the whole event. And to make sure that people are having good, healthy discussions. We don't, it's not a booze up. You're not coming to have a chin wag over a beer or something like that.
We do have amazing dinners. Like, we've got the welcome dinner
Absolutely.
for the inner circle. We've got the VIP dinner for the inner circle.
We don't want people coming and having a chin wag and going home thinking, I could have had that chin wag with a mate. We want to make sure that this is an epic event.
Yeah. I guess, how are we going to do that? Like, what are some aspects of the summit?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to talk about hot seats and deep dives.
So again, always, this whole thing has been based and designed on feedback and what we've seen work incredibly well, whether we've run groups, run masterminds, been a part of masterminds. And so 2 key things would be hot seats and deep dives. So the way we've come about those 2 things, a deep dive is where we'll pluck certain people out and would just be pretty much having a discussion like this in the room up front, and just walking someone through their journey and really highlighting things that they do extremely well. So understanding what that person's superpower is and going, let's really nail down on that, so that the whole room can learn from that.
Yeah, and also learn from their trial and error.
Totally. So that everyone else in the room is not having to pay the same tax that this person had to pay.
Yeah. So you might be sitting there as a builder, you're listening to this deep dive. This builder might be in a different location or a different, serving a different market. Yeah. They might have been around for longer than you, or maybe they are, fairly new, but their business, like, there's been trial and error there. So you can actually sit there and you can stop guessing on like how to fix your problems and just kind of like hear how they've solved it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through that trial and error. So the deep dive is going to be really valuable. And it's what I love about the deep dive is, look, because at Biz Video, before we create any story for our clients, it's really important for us to understand really who that person is and for them to understand who they are, right? So that's why we go through story development. And for the deep dives, we're actually going to do the same kind of thing before the event. So the deep dives are going to be valuable because they'll be, more planned out.
Yeah.
And
the other thing, to make sure that they're well planned out and make sure we have the right people sharing, it's this event, again, it's not no one on stage talking like they're an expert or anything like that. Everyone's coming with a mindset of, I'm here to learn, I'm open book, and I'm willing to share so others can learn from me.
100%.
Because every builder that we work with will admit that they've made mistakes and they wouldn't want others to make mistakes like that.
Yeah.
Especially when the desire of most of the guys we work with is to lift and build a better industry. But yeah, leading up to the event, we're going to be talking with every single person that gets their ticket and secures their seat. There'll be surveys sent out so that we can really understand everyone who's coming, understand the challenge they're facing, bottlenecks they have, problems that they're needing solving, and then also understand what have they done really well, what's worked really well for them, what's their superpower, and bringing that to the table. So in that way, we can get the most out of the event in terms of making sure the right people are sharing the right information.
Yeah. And then there's just the serendipitous side of things.
Yes.
That's why we have left, blank space around. That's why we have the dinners, the cocktail party afterwards, the time before the summit starts. That's why it's at Kira on the beach. Go grab a coffee, grab a builder, go for a walk on the beach, get to know each other, learn from each other there. So we're trying to, again, this is from feedback from a lot of events and masterminds we have run in the past. And also masterminds and events we have been a part of. So hearing that feedback and going like, where's the most value? Where did they receive the most value? And that was from creating the space. Having the space to,
And when we say space, we're talking about if something gets shared up front, it's allowing the time for the table to discuss it and to have other guys all inputting on that. It's the conversations over lunch.
Yeah.
So we're not rushing lunch. We're not rushing the discussions around the table. We're creating those spaces. Like you said, we're creating the opportunity for guys to hang out, come early, grab a coffee and meet other people who are there with this intention, with purpose. It's the dinners. It's because that's, again, coming back to the feedback that I've had from people is it's hearing stories. That's a big thing, is when you share a story, it helps me go, oh, I can see how that then plays out for me, and then you can ask questions. So that's another big thing, is when someone is sharing, we want to make sure there's opportunity to ask questions so that the whole room can then learn from that, and not just it's a one big conversation.
100%.
It's not a monologue.
Yeah. And I think another thing is, there might be some builders out there, they're looking at this event and they're thinking, you know what, like it all sounds good, but really I can't see the value. I want to just push back on that. Even if you think you've got everything together, even if you have a plan and you're like, I've got a rock solid plan for the next 18 months and all I need to do is execute, that is great. Like, fantastic. I'll take my hat off to you.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to push back on that. You do not know what could potentially come out of being in these conversations. You do not understand. It could be one little thing, hearing a story from another builder, talking to them like, hey, how did you do that? That could save you 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. Or something you hear that creates more value in your business. So it's not just about saving money, but also something about fast tracking maybe your growth a little bit more. So I really want to push back on that. Or it might be something on the personal side, because everyone always talks about business and everything. We want to allow for the personal side of things. Remember, you're a person first, okay?
Yeah.
Business is kind of like, it's there. But what if you save a few hours a week that you can spend more with your family? That's top of mind for me right now, because I've got a daughter. You've got 2 daughters.
And it's, I think the human side, maybe because it's such a large part of what we do on the biz video side is humanizing businesses. The human element is so important for us, and so we there's a builder coming on board this week with us, a new guy, and one thing that resonated with him was just focus on us firstly, him and I building a relationship before I try to pitch him, and that's a big thing, the relationship, because we've seen, I think because we have the relationship with so many of our builders, they're very open with us about their situation, the challenges they're going through, personal challenges, and it's so important that they have someone to talk to about that. Bounce it off. I can't imagine bottling up what some of these guys go through, and sadly, we've seen the real negative outcome and effects that can have on families.
Yeah.
When someone doesn't have people around them.
Yeah. And it's a big thing we are really passionate about solving.
Yeah.
All right. We believe that we should have community. We're not created just to be on this earth, just to be a lone wolf like solo. We're meant to be with other people. We're meant to help other people. We're meant to get help from other people. And I think that's a big part of this, like everything we do at Biz Video, the reason why we run this podcast, and also the summit. But that's why it's called Inspired Builders Podcast. Like, a big thing is, I know for a fact that if you feel inspired, you get out of bed with a different energy, and you actually just want to go tackle, you want to go tackle the problems, because you can create value, whether it's for your clients, whether it's for your team. And that's why I'm so passionate about this. Really, this is the Inspired Builders Summit and the Inspired Builders Podcast is really a passion project for us. It's not our core business. But I think
it's funny if you look back at how it came out.
Yeah.
Why we started it.
But there's a reason for it. Like, I believe we are called to do this. So yeah, I guess one other thing that I've got written down here, just as like something to really remember, is you don't have to be the smartest builder in the area. You just have to be the one smart enough to get in the room with the people who have the answers. And I was like, man, that is like, imagine this. Name 3 people in history that you would love to ask a question about that will solve so many problems for you. Like, name 3 people on top of your head. First one. Name 1.
Jesus.
All right, Jesus. Who else?
Warren Buffett.
Who else? Let's go with those 2 because this podcast is running.
Yeah.
But
there's so many people.
I know there's so many people, right? Now, I know you're not going to be sitting in that room with these people, but you're going to be sitting in the room with other builders that, can inspire you, and you can inspire them. And then together, everyone's inspired, and you can walk out and do real good. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say in terms of maybe the summit?
Yeah, in regards to the summit, I've been amazed at just the level of excitement of the guys that have secured their tickets so far. Whether it be emails or calls with me or texting, the amount of emojis I've been sent, that's been really cool to see. So seeing that, there's going to be such an atmosphere at this. The level of eagerness of these guys coming, I think, is next level.
Yeah.
And that's so exciting.
Yeah, and I think another reason why everyone's excited as well is the time of the year. Mm-hmm. You're just coming out of, like, right now we're sitting here, what is it, like 10th of December? Everyone's like got 2 weeks left just to get stuff done. Yeah. Everyone's smashing it. Everyone's had a big year. It's been a very tough year in the building industry and everything in the world. Yeah. Then you've got Christmas and everything, you got holidays, and then you come back and you get things started, get the team started, get the projects, and then we're in Feb. And this is why we've got the summit in February. Yeah. And the big reason for that is so that you can get your team and everything started. But then secondly, it gives you the ability to, get excited about the year to come.
Yeah.
And
Especially when you haven't had time this year to start thinking about next year.
yeah,
That's one thing I've heard a lot from my guys. Like, man, it's so nice to have something like this in the calendar. I can look forward to it. It's going to help me with everything next year. And I can just put it in the calendar, set it in, and then not worry about it. I can go just finish this year hard,
yeah,
go on holidays, like you said, and then January, a lot of builders use the term, we'll come back January and just let the dust settle. February, we really get started. And then, boom, straight into this to then lock the rest of the year and
damn,
the next fight.
You should have just said that. You said it way better than me. But so if you haven't already, go check out the information page. You can learn more about the summit there. If you have any questions, just get in touch with JP. Just find us on socials, DM us or whatever. I'm sure you can find out where to contact us. And then, if you want a ticket, you can secure your ticket on that page as well. But thank you for this episode, JP.
Thank you, Corné.
Cheers.